Welcome to Seeker's Couch. It's been a very eventful month, very eventful week, and I hope you're home safe and preparing for Christmas. Yeah, it's about that time. I think we should be readying our Christmas trees. Things should be dangling in the house, beautiful, bright, and ready for celebrations. So, I'm happy to be here today, and I hope you've been keeping safe. I hope everybody's okay. And to those that are celebrating birthdays, happy birthday to you. You need to thank God that you're here today, because we have lost so many people the past 2 years. I keep referring to that. Maybe because I don't even like to call myself as a COVID survivor, because it's nothing on my watch. You know what I mean? It's God's desire that I'm here today. So happy birthday to you guys. I wanted to bring closer to home a topic that we have tried to discuss. A few weeks back, we spoke about gender-based violence. So I wanted us to bring it closer to home, to speak on a personal level, okay? How do you identify and know whether or not you are in a dangerous relationship, okay? We call them toxic relationships. I think it's important to identify certain things because we have normalized so many wrong things that even when they happen, we don't realize that this is actually wrong and I'm actually in an abusive relationship, okay? Again, it's in the same paradigm, at home, at work, at church, in your community. Basically, if you're in a toxic relationship, you need to come out of it. And that's not easy to do if you do not know that you're in a toxic relationship in the first place. So how do you know you're in a toxic relationship? Many of us think when people are possessive of us, then they love us. Many of us think when men beat us, then they love us. Many of us think that when men manage our finances or dictate our lives, tell us what to do, what not to do, then it means they love us. Many of us, we think that when our partners think on our behalf, okay, make us feel like we don't know any better. You know, you've met people who say, Manzi, he knows everything. Oh no, she knows everything. You're a human being, you have your own senses, you should be able to make up your own mind. There is no harm in coming to an agreement, compromise as a couple, or as friends, or as co-workers. But there's every harm if one person is always taking the lead and your ideas don't matter. So those are some of the things that we have come to accept as normal, especially in a marriage setup, okay? So anytime you are being rude, they say, no, that is how marriage is. Men must always take the lead. Or if it's the woman, no, that is how she is. One is taking control of the other. So a clear cut of whether or not you're in a toxic relationship, you should be able to ask yourself, am I allowed to say my mind? Am I allowed to do what I want to do? Am I allowed to give my opinion without being second-guessed? Am I allowed to speak my mind? Okay? Am I loved? Do I feel enough? Okay? Do you feel the need to always defend yourself, to validate yourself? You're second-guessing yourself. Anytime you feel any of these things, and I'm not saying on face value that is what it will be, you'll definitely jump and say, oh, I'm in a toxic relationship just because yesterday you didn't get your way. No. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. If over maybe 6 months, you realize that it's always the other person getting what they want, you're always the one doing the 100% work, you're always the one apologizing even when they're wrong, you're always the one doing their work, you know, basically like you're the life of the relationship, then you need to step back and ask yourself, what role am I playing? What role is my partner playing? Even at work, we have very toxic supervisors, okay? They will not let you go for leave. They'll never appreciate you. They'll never even commend you for something that you do. Every time it's a negativity and it drains you, okay? So anytime you're in a relationship, be it at work, at church, at home, and you feel the need to always defend yourself, always validate yourself, always looking for validation from other people, always feeling drained like, oh my God, I'm at the end of the road, then you're putting too much, more than you should be putting. Relationships are a two-way thing, okay? It's a give and take. And sometimes that's why we say couples will sit down and compromise, make room for the other. It's not always about you. It's not always about the other person either, all right? You must come to a point where you realize you're a team. So at any point you feel There's a lot of lying in this relationship. There's a lot of gaslighting in this relationship. There's a lot of humiliation. There's a lot of abusive language. There's a lot of second guessing of somebody else's thoughts. Then you need to start asking yourself, am I in the right relationship? I know it can be difficult to identify these things because when we are in love, people, we are so gullible. I have no idea why it happens like that. You know, to a point where even when your family and friends tell you, we think this relationship is not good for you, we think this person is not good for you, because you're feeling the butterflies in that moment, you choose to ignore those things. I want to give an example, sadly, of a lady called Tirop. She was a Kenyan athlete, okay? That story was trending last month. I read it with a lump on my throat, and I thought, this is a girl that was in her prime, okay? She was winning medals. She was making Kenya proud, Africa proud. She was the best in her game. She was in a toxic relationship. She tried to leave, and this is the problem with toxic people or narcissists. If you are with a narcissist, they will not let you go, but if you stay, they will not treat you right. But if you leave, they will treat you bad. Whatever you do, a narcissistic person will not want you to get away because you are like their source of power, their source of energy. You get? So Tirop was in that kind of relationship. And sadly, the news said she had tried to leave that relationship to no avail, to no success. And that on the day she died, and you see, this is the thing that just breaks my heart. A lot of people see other people suffer, but they watch and do nothing. Sometimes namulomo, you even start talking. I don't know where we get this this joy in other people's sadness. I don't get it. Really, it's incumbent upon family members and community members to raise a red flag, to just call authorities and say there's a problem there and that person is in trouble. Because half the time, people in toxic or abusive relationships don't have the power to move. At the point they feel they have the power to move, the other person now feels threatened, okay? Then they rise to the occasion and they will kill them so that they do not leave. They will do everything to grab, to hold on to that, because that is like their safety net. That's the point where they feel powerful. You get? So Tirop died on the day she was trying to leave. Do you understand? She tried all this time, but she wasn't successful. So she was winning races. You get? Winning races on the tracks. Unfortunately, she lost the one race that she should have won. Her life race. And it's so heartbreaking because people knew. They didn't help. They heard her screaming. The neighbors didn't go to her aid. The relatives heard about it. They said it wasn't any of their business. Come on. When is it your business? When it's time to bury your relative? When it's time to bury your friend? I think it's important for us to make it our business when they're still alive and there's room to save a life. All right? So please, if you notice you're in a toxic relationship, call for help. And I hate that we stay in toxic relationships because we are afraid of what society will say to us. Because people laugh at people that leave toxic relationships. We think they're weak. We think they should have tried. They should have stayed. Everybody stays. You get? Well, they stay, or they slip into depression, or they die. Do you want to be a statistic? I don't think so. I think I want to be a statistic of those that are winning races and not those that are losing the races of life, okay? So this is a very serious issue to me because I have lost people, loved ones, all right, to toxic, abusive relationships because they couldn't speak up or because we couldn't help, because we stood aloof, because they were afraid they were going to be laughed at. If you are that person, you can inbox us, we can speak about your situation, and we can find a way of how to come out of that toxic relationship. Now, coming out of a toxic relationship is one thing. Unlearning the toxic behavior is quite another. So no matter how hurt you are, trust that there's always somebody out there who was meant for you and is ready to treat you better. Because we leave toxic relationships, go into the next relationship with all our toxic behavior, all our defense mechanisms, our guards so high up, then there's nobody to reach us. We become strong, hard-hearted, and bitter and resentful. But you can always come out of it and become a better person. Love yourself better. Know that you're enough. Don't ask and wait for validation from the other person. Look at yourself every day and tell yourself you're beautiful, you're worth it, you are loved, and you're needed here. So, Isha was getting carried away, and my producer is jealous. Nick, you're beautiful. Oh, yeah, guy, you're handsome. All right, okay, so it's been Siku's Couch. I hope you join me again next time for another episode. It's ciao, take care, happy Christmas.